Good morning, class. Today, we're going to be talking about Turbo Zacian deck. We're going to be doing a little deck profile. I really like this deck. I played it at the Full Grip online tournament to literally no success. It was a terrible tournament for me. But in testing, the deck has been doing very well, so I'm not going to let two bad games, turn me off of the deck. So one of the reasons that I wanted to profile this deck is, A, it has a lot of cards that I think a lot of people already have access to and are already familiar with from the standard format. And B, it is a deck that I just think people kind of ignore as existing. It was briefly messed around with in the Black and White to Sword and Shield meta when Zacian first came out, and it saw no success because the format then had Milotic, Shaman, and all the banned stuff, and the deck is way too fair for that. But now, I think the deck is actually in a good place. Now, it does kind of depend what you're going to see in the meta and stuff like that, but to no surprise of anyone, Zacian is one of the most broken cards that has ever been printed. So it's going to be our main attacker, although we do have other attackers. Let's go ahead and take a deeper look at the list right now. So we have 4 Zacians. It's your best card. You want to start it, especially, this is one of the few decks in the expanded format that is okay going first. You want to go second. Second is a very big deal. You can get the turn 1 Brave Blade very consistently. But if you're forced to go first, you're kind of okay with it, because as long as you get a Zacian, Intrepid Sword, maybe even hit an extra energy, you're fine. Some of the other options that we have, so we play an Aegislash V. This is just here for the Sonic Edge attack, so that we can get through stuff like a Hoopa from Shining Legends. Actually, I completely forgot Zacian gets through that. So we don't have to get through that. But we can get through anything that walls us, like a Decidueye and Rowlet Executor, which is a very big deal. This can get through Mewtwo and Mew copying Jolteon EX, which says that basic Pokemon do no damage to it, or a Pyroar, which has the ability that says basic Pokemon do no damage to it. So that Aegislash lets us get through any of those. So it's here for this Sonic Edge attack. We play a Cobalion-GX, which is here for 2 things. One is the ability. The ability says any Pokemon that have a metal energy attached to it cannot be affected by special conditions. This is nice against Turbo Dark. They can't go Hypnotoxic Laser Dedenne-GX with Darkrai GX against you. Any deck that plays some sort of special condition like a Vikavolt with Hypnotoxic Laser. Hypnotoxic Laser is a very good card. It's not seen a ton expanded right now, but it is nice for that. It's also here for Iron Rule GX. This is an incredibly good GX attack. It says during your opponent's next turn, their Pokemon can't attack. This can buy you a turn, which is incredibly valuable. In fact, in the Full Grip tournament, this won me a round because I missed game, but I just was able to go Iron Rule GX, and then I had game the next turn. So it's a very strong attack, so it's in here for a combination of both. And when you're in a tight spot, being able to Iron Rule GX gives you an entire free turn to Intrepid Sword, play a Sycamore to find a Guzma or something like that, and it can help you win the game. One thing that's different, I originally took Robin Shulz list. He played an Aegislash EX. I will show that card in a second when I talk about other techs you could play. I like Kartana-GX. The ability's cool. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, discard a special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. There's a lot of special energy in Expanded, so it's a nice ability, but that's not why it's here. It's here for the GX attack. GX attack says, take a prize. That's it. Super simple. Very nice against something like ADP. We can knock out the ADP, knock out the Zacian, and then for 1 energy, Blade GX wins us the game. Against a single prize deck, we can struggle a little bit because all of our attackers take a lot of energy. So being able to just go attach, GX, take a prize can win us the game when otherwise we might have to do a bunch of stuff to get a Zacian or a Cobalion or an Aegislash powered up. So I like this, but this is dependent on your meta. We play a Dhelmise from Guardians Rising. Your metal Pokemon attack do 10 more damage. This is important. Zacian hits for 230. Zacian with Dhelmise hits for 240. Zacian plus Dhelmise plus Choice Band hits for 270. Now we've KO'd Garchomp and Giratina. We've KO'd Mewtwo and Mew. And if we add in Shrine of Punishment, a single tick from that, we've KO'd an ADP. And yes, you can KO ADP turn 1 with this deck. It is very much possible to hit those numbers. It's possible to KO a Garchomp Giratina turn 1 with those numbers. So the Dhelmise adds very important numbers to one-shot those tag team Pokemon. While we're on the subject, the Choice Band's also very nice. In the standard format, we have no way... Well, okay, you need ADP's GX attack in order to OHKO a Pikarom. We don't need that here. We have Choice Band. It's the same plus 30 damage. So with the Choice Band, Zacian can one-hit KO a Pikarom. So for anyone out there who's saying, Mello, where's your ADP? You don't need ADP. We have damage modifiers in Expanded, and we can move faster. So in Expanded, it is, like, ADP is a good deck, don't get me wrong. But being able, or like putting a 3-prizer up there and saying, I'm going to do 0 damage this turn, can lose you the game. This deck completely negates that and says, you know what, I'm just going to come out swinging and say, do you have answers to this? So the Choice Band adds that relevant math, and the Dhelmise helps to... Crobat, you know, Dedenne, you know. Lele, we haven't really talked about Lele. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to your bench, you may search your deck for a supporter card. One of the best cards ever printed. It's very good. And technically attack with it because attacks are too colorless, but won't. We play a Sudowoodo, very good against Snorlax, very good against Eternatus, very good against Turbo Dark, and it can also just help if your opponent has an awkward turn 1, and maybe their bench doesn't look the way that you think it should. Maybe they have like a Lele, a Dedenne, a Crobat. You know, they started a Dedenne, they had to play a Dedenne. You can play the Sudowoodo down and bench lock them early, because a lot of good players will leave one bench spot open. So you can say, all right, here's a Sudowoodo. Now your bench sucks. So it's a good card in a variety of matchups. As a Pokemon line, the one change that is possible to make is cutting the Kartana for an Aegislash EX. So Aegislash EX is an older card. A lot of us are typically like, EXs are power crept out, but this one's pretty good. Has the Mighty Shield ability, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that has any special energy attached to it. This is good against 2 decks in this format. That's it. It's good against Mad Party, which you're not going to see a ton of, and it's good against Mew Fates Collide box, which uses like Cramorant and Dubwool and double colorless energies. A single Aegislash EX, I mean, it just beats both of those decks unless they're playing some sort of tech for it. So Aegislash is nice because it does beat those. The problem is, it's only those 2 decks that it's really in here for, and it doesn't do anything else. So I decided not to play it yesterday, or whenever you're watching this video, a couple days ago in the tournament. But if you expect mostly Mew, if you expect a lot of Mew box, you can put this in here, and it turns a bad matchup into an auto, which is quite nice. All right, let's look at the trainers. Play a Battle Compressor. I had a video about how to use Battle Compressor best. All of those rules still apply to it. A very good card. Computer Search, although Computer Search is not necessary, I do think Dowsing Machine is possible. I wanted the Computer Search for extra consistency. I know those of you who saw the stream are like, Mello, you dead Drew. Yeah, but I didn't have Computer Search in hand. So I like it for the extra consistency, but Dowsing Machine is both cheaper, and this deck discards stuff so aggressively that a Dowsing Machine could be good, because we have one-ofs like Field Blower or Shrine of Punishment that we might want to get back. So if you have a Dowsing Machine instead of a Computer Search, not only is that fine, it is arguably better. So that is an option. For Max Elixirs, this card is incredible. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck, attach a basic energy card you find there to a basic Pokemon on your bench, shuffle the other cards back in your deck. We play a lot of basic energy. We play 12 basic energy in this deck. So turn 1, Max Elixir is going to accelerate energy from the deck. Metal Saucer is going to accelerate from the discard, and it's super easy to power up a Zacian turn 1, turn 2. Kind of out of nowhere, you're like, oh, I have no energy on board. Bench a Zacian, Max Elixir hit, Metal Saucer hit, attach, boom, Brave Play. So, unlike standard format, we have double the energy acceleration. Now, Max Elixir is not a 100% chance, but if you order things right, you take stuff out of the deck, you leave energy in the deck, Max Elixir has a pretty high probability of hitting. 4 Quick Balls, 2 Ultra Balls. I wouldn't mess with the count. Maybe you could technically play more Ultra Balls, I guess, but we don't play any evolution, so 4 Quick Balls fine. But I'd keep the 2 Ultra Balls. It adds extra consistency. Tord is very famous for saying you should have at least 16 outs to something for turn 1 draw. We have just about that number right now, so 2 is a specific number. 3 VS Seekers, again, we discard very aggressively, so we want to be able to get back some of our supporters when we need them. I mentioned the Shrine, it's here for ADP. Also, Naganadel Guzzlord, or you might run into a random like Sableye Tyranitar, apparently. Sure, Shrine of Punishment's there for them. 3 Guzma. Guzma's nice. It helps us reset our Brave Blade if our opponent doesn't KO us. And it helps us attack stuff on the bench, because 230 KOs all the bench sitters in the world. So even if it's turn 1, our opponent has an ADP in the active, we don't have Dhelmise Choice Band Shrine. That's okay. We can just go Guzma, KO their Zacian, KO a Dedenne, KO a Crobat, whatever on their bench. So Guzma's great. I'd love a 4th one. We don't have room for a 4th one. And because while we're an aggressive deck, we're not aggressive enough not to play a single copy of N. Hand Disruption is very good. Hand Disruption when you're hitting for 230 is also incredibly good, because we're often going to say, hey, I'm going to remove all your energy from the board by taking a knockout, and I'm going to disrupt your hand down to 1 or 2 cards. What do you got? And very often, they don't have any. 1 Ranger. Ranger's debatably cuttable. I've liked it so far. So it does reset if your opponent's playing ADP, and they've used their GX attack, this removes their GX attack. Another cool thing this does is this helps us reset Brave Blade. So it says during your next turns, Pokemon can't attack. They didn't knock you out, next turn comes back, Ranger, you can Brave Blade again. So you don't have to retreat, you don't have to do anything like that. So it's a pretty cool card. It's not necessary, but I've liked it so far, so I want to keep it. 4 Sycamores, we want to discard, draw. Choice Band, I mentioned, lets you KO Pikarom, and Choice Band with other modifiers lets you KO Mewtwo Mew, lets you KO Garchomp and Giratina, so all the tag. 3 Floats. The reason we play 3 Floats is to get whatever's in the active out of the active. Both Elixir and Saucer accelerate to the bench. This is another one where I'd be a fan of keeping 3 Floats. One card you could play instead if you wanted to cut a Float Stone would be an Escape Rope. So Escape Rope is a super cool card. Each player switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. Your opponent switches first. So this is a way to get those bench Pokemon we're accelerating energy to into the active. And also, I like this as an option to get your opponent's active out of the active, which can be very nice. So I like the dual effect over something like Switch. So if you were to cut a Float Stone, I'd probably want to put an Escape Rope in there. Stealthy Hood's in here for Vileplume from Burning Shadows mostly. Vileplume from Burning Shadows says your opponent's basic Pokemon cannot attack. A common misconception that a lot of people have without reading the card is like, oh, Aegislash can go through Vileplume. Can't. Aegislash goes through any effects. Vileplume says your opponent's basic Pokemon cannot attack. So we need the Stealthy Hood so that we can now attack that Vileplume. So in the Eggrow matchup, this KOs their Decidueye, and the Stealthy Hood on a Zacian lets us KO their Vileplume. 12 Energy. We want energy. We want energy turn 1 to attach. If we're going first, we want Intrepid Sword into energy. We want a Max Elixir into energy. Energy is incredibly important for this deck. I don't know if I'd mess with that 12 count. Potentially try out 11. I don't think you need 13. I've never had energy issues, but I do believe that the number we have is pretty good. So overall, I think you should give this deck a try. I'm a big fan of it. It is fast. It is aggressive. It does a lot of stuff. And all of those things are just generally fun. So hopefully you like the deck. Hopefully you try it out. Like I said, I think a lot of you have access to a lot of these cards. I mean, it's not a super budget deck, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them are already in standard format and already decks that if you have ADP built, you can probably build this. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you at the next lesson on Saturday.